Okay, so this is my keynote lecture on our next topic in Unit 2, and that is from Chapter 11. This should read Chapter 11, and that is on Byzantium, Russia, and Turkey. Now, this slideshow is going to focus on the Byzantine and Russian empires, and then we'll look at Turkey over the weekend, as I'll have one uploaded for you on that. Okay? So please note, first of all, that so this is my keynote lecture on our next topic in Unit 2, and that is from Chapter 11 on the Byzantine and Russian and Turkish empires. Now, this particular keynote will focus on the Byzantine and Russian empires, and over the weekend I'll have one uploaded on Turkey for you to watch in preparation for our next class. All right. So in Chapter 11, we encounter three great civilizations of Eastern Europe and Asia Minor. All three of these empires, at one point or another in history, conflicted with the others. So in other words, at one point they all were either fighting each other at the same time, or was two against one in some cases. And they all three shared similar aims and goals, basically land, power, and wealth. Now, this slideshow, as I said, will focus on the Byzantine Empire and the Russian empires. So let's go to the next slide. Byzantium, also called the Byzantine Empire, centered in the ancient city of Constantinople, which is now modern Istanbul. Okay? Now, Constantinople was founded by the Roman Emperor Constantine the Great. If you recall, Constantine was the first Roman emperor to convert to Christianity. Now, he founded Constantinople back in the 4th century AD. And he wanted it to be the center of an Eastern Roman Empire. He wanted it to be the center of the Eastern Roman Empire. So the people of the Byzantine Empire spoke Greek, not Latin, like they did in the Western Roman Empire. Okay, the language was Greek, and their religion was not Roman Catholic, but rather Eastern Orthodox Christianity. I have a link on Blackboard to a YouTube for you to watch an Eastern Orthodox liturgy so that you can get a sense of what it's like. Let's go on to our next slide. One of the most famous of the Byzantine emperors was Justinian in the 6th century AD, and he established a law code called the Justinian Code that lasted for the Byzantine Empire for over 900 years. So it's interesting, isn't it? You know, in the ancient Roman Empire, we had the 12 tables. Now we have the Justinian Code. It's interesting how these law codes get developed. The Byzantine Empire faced many threats, some of them natural, such as plagues, earthquakes, but also attacks from enemies, Germanic tribes, Persians, the Ottoman Turks. But the empire lasted. The Byzantine Empire lasted until 1453, when it finally fell to the Ottoman Turks. Let's go to the next slide. Then with the Russian Empire. Russian society shared many similar qualities with the Byzantine Empire through trade contact. Okay? Russians are called Slavic peoples. They formed this group along with people from the Czech Republic, Slovakia, Serbia, Croatia, and so on. So, for instance, on my dad's side, I am Slavic. I'm Czech and Lithuanian. So the Slavs are the people of Eastern Europe, all the way from the Baltic Sea down to the Eastern Mediterranean. Russia is named after the Rus people. These were a Viking tribe who came from the northern Baltic region. So on the right, I have a map of the Baltic Sea, and this would be the Baltic countries of Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. They call them the Baltic states because they border on the Baltic Sea. Let's go to our next slide. The first ruler of Russia, Vladimir I, adopted Eastern Orthodox Christianity, and it developed in Russia. Okay? The Russians use an alphabet called the Cyrillic alphabet. It's named after Saint Cyril, okay, who preached the gospel and worked among the Russians long ago in their history and taught them the Cyrillic alphabet so that they could become literate. Okay? The first great city in the Russian Empire was the city of Kiev in Ukraine. It was the great, powerful, wealthy center of the Russian Empire until the 1200s, when invasions from the Mongols captured the Russian Empire, held it for 200 years. And if you recall, we saw the Mongols back when we looked at ancient China, when Genghis Khan invaded China back in the 1200s. Let's go to the next slide. Russian society developed in more or less isolation from the rest of Western Europe. In fact, some disagree on whether Russia is even a part of Europe. Some consider it Asian, because if you look at a map, you'll see that Russia spans all the way from the easternmost part of Europe all the way to the Bering Straits. It's just not very far from Alaska. So if you think about it, Russia is such a vast country. I mean, it borders to the north of China. Okay, so as a region, Russia encompasses many religions and ethnic groups. You have Russians who are Muslim, Christian, Jewish, Buddhist. You have some Russians look Caucasian, some look Asiatic, others look Middle Eastern. So the country is so vast that I want you to imagine just how great the accomplishment was to rule it in the first place, the ability to accomplish that. Let's go to our next slide, which is a map of the Russian ethnic groups. And as you can see from this map, Russian ethnic groups from this key code encompass such a vast area and a multiplicity of peoples. So part of our next assignment will be to create your own map focusing on key individual ethnic groups.